Welcome to another episode of Police Off the Cuff. My name is Mark DeMeo. I'm your host, and my co-host sitting on my far left, the very handsome Bill Cannon, is in the house.
I got a little bit of a tan, too. I just came back from Fort Myers. I dipped my balls in the hot tub. People didn't like that. You know, they said, what the hell is that? You putting your golf balls in there? No. You know.
Is that where you got to 200 pounds?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
200 pounds last year. Diesel. Cock diesel.
Hey, I heard you did a show in Connecticut, and you killed. Is that true?
Yeah, probably.
The only person that told me that was you.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get any calls from people. I didn't get any calls from people in Connecticut. You told me it was great.
Balls already.
You excited, man?
Yeah, today's show I think is going to be great, man. Today our guest, we don't like to let our guests sit around. We like to let you jump in. It's an awkward thing to just be sitting there and hearing us banter back and forth. Our guest today is a retired NYPD captain. Let me just tell you, this is a little bit about him. He's got a bachelor's from Manhattan College, right?
How about his name first?
Well, before that, we got a master's arts and history from Lehman College. He went to John Jay. Oh, he's also a Gulf War vet.
Wow,
and he's
impressive.
He's covered it all. He's an active chaplain, so we got to watch our language, Bill.
Fuck that.
He's involved in the VFW post. I do a lot of shows there. He's the vice commander of the local American Legion post, so he's in the KKK too. I don't even know what that shit means. It never sounds good though, like Knights of Columbus, right? Andrew DeStefano, folks. Let him feel the love.
Yo.
What's up? We're doing this thing this week, man.
Fist bumping, yeah.
Coronavirus, that motherfucker. Screwing up everything.
It is, man.
It really is,
I don't even want to look at my deferred comp account, man. I just don't even want to look at it.
You still have that? How do you still have that? You can't have that.
I didn't even touch it yet.
What do you mean?
I was planning on living large once some,
That's the 401. The
401k. Yeah. I mean, I don't put any money in it anymore.
Yeah, but don't you got to take that money when you're 65?
No, you got to take it out when you're 70.
Oh, all right. I thought you should have taken it out 2 years ago.
I'm making so much money doing stand-up comedy that I don't need the money.
Let me tell you something. As soon as that money was available, that I could take.
Oh, you would have used it all.
I took a 30%. I took a 30% hit on it, and then you got to pay taxes on it. So you basically, whatever money you put in, they just give you back. You didn't earn a penny interest on it, really.
Oh yeah,
it's true, man.
So you're really a chaplain?
Well, in the VFW, yeah, in my.
What is that? What does that mean? You're not like an ordained.
No, it's nothing like that. I
thought you got.
So do you lay hands on people and cure them and shit?
I don't touch nobody.
No.
He lays hands like this. He lays hands.
We fist bump.
What does that mean, chaplain in the VFW?
Well, each post has a chaplain that does the opening prayer.
Can you hear him, Rashad?
Yes.
I'm not hearing him that good on my headphones.
Each VFW post has a chaplain. They do the opening prayers, the closing prayers. Someone is sick, you visit them, and things like that.
All right, cool.
Is that what they call you an exalted leader or something like that? I saw some VFW posts had that title.
No, that's usually the Elks.
Oh, the Elks.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Everybody's gonna want to know this. I guarantee you. What's the difference between the Elks and the VFWs?
Well, VFW is Veteran of Foreign Wars, which means you served in war.
Okay.
American Legion is you served in peacetime. The Elks is just a benevolent organization.
Oh, okay.
It has nothing to do with veterans.
Nothing at all.
Well, it's very supportive, but they're not connected to veterans.
Yeah, I do a lot of shows in the VFWs, L clubs. That's pretty much.
Hey, we got a hookup now up in the North Pole here. Where you
at?
In Putnam County.
Putnam County.
Yeah.
Mike Gill O'Keefe is doing a book signing up there Thursday.
Okay, cool.
The FOP, the Driscoll FOP.
So we got to do a comedy show up there.
Putnam's not that far. What is it, like an hour out?
Yeah, 60 miles.
Yeah.
You guys put together comedy shows up there?
Oh, they have them all the time.
Yeah, have me over. I'll smack the shit out of them up there.
That's what he told me. That's what he texted me.
That's my job.
I killed them in Connecticut. I was
I never say I killed. I smacked the shit out of them.
Smacked the shit out
Well,
of
we're
them
right next to Connecticut, so you probably feel at home.
Yeah. That's that Corona? No.
No, that's my regular seasonal allergies. Yeah, man, it's a weird thing with the coronavirus. I saw that Ted Cruz, a Republican, he came in contact with somebody that is infected. Right. So what he did today was he self-quarantined himself.
It's 2 weeks, man. What do you do for 2 weeks sitting in a room?
I'm calling it tomorrow.
Yeah, what's going to happen in the NYPD when guys call up? I'm self-quarantining.
I'm in Coogan's self-quarantining.
We've decided to self-quarantine in Coogan's the remainder of the tour.
He's running out of Coronas.
But what would they do? The job can't tell you to come in.
Exactly.
Right? The desk officer is going to pull his hair out.
You know,
I think it's a different type of job, though.
Yeah.
It's definitely a different type of job. You know, people don't realize that as a member of the service, law enforcement, if you work in a hospital as well, you know, your job is to be around people who might be exposed to this kind of stuff. Most of the people that you're dealing with are not going to be, living on 54th Street and 2nd Avenue.
Do you remember when, you came on a little later, but when HIV/AIDS hit, a lot of cops were like, I ain't fucking going near them.
Yeah. Listen, let me tell you something. I was in the projects one night, and we were looking for somebody on a warrant, and we came up empty in the apartment, and as we were leaving the apartment, I see this guy come off the elevator. He's got a hoodie on. As soon as he makes his head goes lower, and he makes a quick right. He's going to. I said, dude, my friend, come over here. So he turns around. I said, you know this person? I wanted to take a look at them. Plus, I want him to see the picture on the warrant. And as his head started coming up, I was like, oh man, he looks sick, man. Like really sick. Yeah. Like he had the HIV, you know. So I said to him, you got the HIV? He goes, nah, man, I got that new shit. I said, what? He goes, doctors don't even know what it is yet. He goes, I got bugs crawling in and out of me. Look. And he goes like this with his shirt, and he lifts it up, and he's got like these open scab wounds with these tiny little black dots all around it. And I was like, oh, shit. We got scared, me and my partner. I was like, and you're in the projects right now, and you're trying to hit the elevator, the button behind you, which never comes, by the way. That elevator rarely, it's late to begin with, and now when you really need it.
About it.
So we just found the door, like we kept scaling back against the wall until we found the door that goes down. Yeah. And we were like up on the 8th floor, maybe the 18th floor for that matter. And we just started running down the stairs like two bitches, me and my partner, to get away from this guy.
No, that was the big thing back. Well, obviously in the 80s, first thing you said before you tore someone was, you got any needles on you, right?
Right.
Because you got stuck with one of those
he's
needles.
Gonna tell you. Yeah. Like he's gonna tell you. Yeah, I got that.
Well, they got the shit smacked out of them if they had one. Yeah. If you got stuck, it was no joke. There was HIV on the end of those needles,
I know. Think about it. The exposure, the stuff that we have to walk into. With no mask.
Unbelievable.
No gloves.
I used to work out at Sheridan Square Bodybuilding Club when
of course you
I
did.
lived in the village.
I see that.
I've been cock diesel since then, But the whole 90% of the gym was gay.
I knew that too. I knew that too.
But then the AIDS hit, and you could see people started disappearing. Because when it first came out, there was no cure, there was no medicine, there was no AZT that could make you live forever, indefinitely. People were like dying.
And the irony is with the AIDS is that now the medication is so good, right? But also along with the medication, they give you a lot of steroids. At least, and especially they did back then too.
Right.
So before you know it, you saw a lot of cock diesel freaking gay dudes.
Guys dropping to 200 pounds.
They had the AIDS face, and they got the big arms, the big chest, and the growth hormone stomach. You ever see when they get that GH stomach?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a telltale sign. You see a lot of people like that around the city.
We've been covering a lot of topics, but we're not talking about Andrew at all.
Forget Andrew.
We're discussing the medical aspects of New York City,
We'll give Andrew a chance to dive in. So, where'd you grow up, Andrew?
I grew up in the Bronx.
What part?
Right outside Parkchester, Beach Avenue, the 4-3.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, major cross streets would have been Tremont to the Cross Bronx Expressway.
Parkchester's nice, though, right?
Yeah.
It was all right, between Parkchester and Soundview.
Because, when we were in the academy, you had these little academy bitches saying, oh, you from East Cupcake or from North Cupcake, right? Meaning Rockland or Westchester. Where are you from, you little academy pussy?
So you were definitely a Guido, huh?
No, I was never like that.
He looks more Irish, man. You got Irish, one of your parents Irish?
Did you go to Churchill Beach a lot?
No, I went to, as kids, we belonged to Castle Hill Beach Club.
Oh, okay.
For a little bit, a couple of years.
So you didn't go to Churchill Beach?
That one,
Orchard Beach.
Oh, Orchard Beach.
They call it Churchill Beach.
Yeah. No, as a cop I did. At Orchard we hit a few times, but more towards high school,
Oh man, I remember once I met a girl from Channel 80. Man, that's how far. Did you ever go to the nightclub Channel 80?
No, but I used to go to Rockaway.
All right. So there was a nightclub in Long Island. You could pull up your boat there. Not that I had a boat.
Is that Long Beach or Island Park, one of those areas?
It was on the
Oceanside.
If Jones is on the south side, it's on the north side.
So that must have been like
That
on the
beach.
bay side.
Yeah, and you could pull your boat. Like I said, not that I had a boat, but people used to do it.
Would you have one of those little Carvel plastic boats? That
I used to-
showed up. It's like, hey, girls,
A rowboat.
I got this boat.
A rowboat going
I
backwards.
just wanted it, Carvel.
I used to cut it, go backwards in. So I remember like being like just in a whole line of my friends. We must have been like 10 of us, all in tank tops, chains, the mullets, everything, the mustaches, and there was this. These couple girls walk in, and one of them, man, she must have been like almost naked, man. I was like, God. And then I was a kid. I was like 18. So she doubles back, whatever. And then, I don't know, we started talking. And then the next day she called me up and asked me to go to the beach with her. So she wanted to go to Orchard Beach. So I left from Queens to go get her. She lived in the Bronx, not in Parkchester, but Morris Park.
You went to get it with your car or your Carvel boat?
You called them boat.
I had to back the boat up. Thank God she was right on the sound right there. So I took her to Orchard Beach, and then we laid down our towels, and I was ready to lay down mine. She was already sitting down, like taking off her shoes and ready to take off her pants, and I noticed, like on her neck, she had like hickeys, and they were covered up with like makeup, and my stomach did a flip. I got like so like grossed out, like, and I just said, I gotta go, and she was like, "What do you mean you gotta go?" I said, "No, I don't feel well." She's like, "You can't leave me here." I said, "Yes, listen, it looks like you know everybody here." She was saying hello to everybody. So I was like, "It looks like you know everybody here already." Anyway, so I gotta go.
Was it a girl?
Yeah, it was a girl. She was hot, but she was also a whore.
So you,
to say the least.
You sensed an STD on the way.
Yeah. I mean, sometime between the time I met her that night, well, I didn't notice it that night. He could have had him anyway. But in the morning to when we went to the beach, she accumulated some hickeys.
She got hickied
That
up.
were not mine.
Did you take a dental impression to see whose hickeys they were?
No, I didn't do that, man.
Why not?
I didn't know how to. And I didn't give a shit, really. They weren't mine, and that's all that mattered. So Parkchester, huh?
Yeah,
Did you play
yeah.
sports as a kid?
Yeah, I played Little League Baseball and I played high school baseball.
Uh-huh. You played high school baseball?
Yeah.
What high school did you
St.
go to?
Raymond's High School for boys.
All right.
Worst decision I ever made.
Why?
Boys high school?
What, going to that high school?
Oh, man, that was bad. Yeah.
I think it was probably more fun, man. I mean, you could cut up, you could act yourself. You didn't have to worry about brushing your teeth or combing your hair when you went to school.
He definitely looks like a baseball player, though.
Yeah, he does. That's why I asked him.
Do you know Tim Gansrow? He was on our show.
No.
Yeah, he
a
was he
sergeant
played
in
minor
South.
league ball.
Yeah, he played minor league ball.
Yeah, and then he owned a place down in North Carolina, I think it was,
Yeah.
or South Carolina, a big facility where they teach really high-end baseball training for kids. But you didn't like that? I went to all boys school from 6th to 8th grade, and I didn't like it either. But I definitely, when you're in high school, that's a big age. Like, there's like a lot of hormones flying around and stuff like that, and. When you're in class with girls, it becomes a big distraction.
Yeah.
So I can understand where you probably feel like
Are you saying that's why he went to an all-boys school?
No, I'm not
He was
saying-
distracted, so he went the other way?
No, what I'm saying is that your grades were probably better.
Not really.
No?
No. Well, you know what it was? When you're growing up, part of growing up is learn how to socialize.
Yeah.
You don't talk to girls. And,
It's odd, yeah.
Yeah, it's all boys. Everything is boys. And
How did you develop your rap?
Well, when I was going, like you said, Andrew, like when I was going to the school from 6th to 8th grade, I felt like I was out of place socially as well. When I got to high school, it was very awkward. I remember being very nervous in the beginning, and it took me a while to to figure out that I was the fucking baddest dude on the planet. And I just had to let anybody know. But
No wonder you do your own comedy reviews.
So yeah, I can understand where they don't really have too many of those all boys schools anymore. You had Holy Cross used to be one, Malloy, McClancy, Malloy and
Hayes
McClancy.
is still there.
Cardinal
Is
Hayes.
that one still?
Cardinal
I know,
Hayes
but
is
they
still
got
there.
girls now, right?
Hayes? No, I don't think so.
Malloy and McClancy have girls now, and I think Holy Cross went to girls this year, maybe last year.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I didn't hear
it's
that.
a way to because those schools they can't really afford to
Yeah, they can't survive.
survive, so they had to double, get the girls in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a different time, man.
Yeah,
Definitely,
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
definitely different time. But like I said, there's something about not having to do your hair or brush your teeth. You know, who gives a shit what you look like? You know, when there's girls in school, you got this the whole thing every day. You know, in the mirror, you know, dun, 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 you got Saturday Night Fever playing in the background.
You definitely were
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
guy with his hair. You used the hairspray and
I
all
can
that
tell,
shit.
yeah,
I bet.
yeah.
Yeah, of course, bro.
It looks like Tony Manero.
Listen, I've
looks
seen
like-
pictures of you too. Okay.
I had the goofiest looking hair. I had that straight, you know.
Yeah, but your hair was dark. It's
Yeah.
funny that
Yeah,
I'm
now-
dark.
yeah, now
it,
it's-
it was
it's
black.
not even salt and
You looked
pepper.
exactly like your sons.
Do I?
Well, your sons look exactly like you.
Yeah,
One of them
I think
does
so,
anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Neither one of them followed me into law enforcement, though. They were really inspired.
Yeah, but aren't you thankful about that?
I think so. With
Yeah,
the way
me
the
too.
job
Right?
is
There's
now.
so many other things to do in life. Why
Yeah.
put yourself in harm's way every day? Unless you have a passion for it. You
I
know what I'm
agree.
saying? Like
Yeah.
if you really want to, you know, go to work every day, lock up bad guys, clean up the streets, then God bless you.
Yeah, especially in New York City, you really don't want your kids going.
Nah, not anymore. Like,
Yeah, especially now. You know, we always say that it gets worse, but I don't know how much worse it gets. I think it's just the same
you
shit.
know, it's a
over
real
and
safe
over.
job, the FBI.
You think so?
Yeah, you just
They
push-
catch it.
really
They
just
catch it
push
every once
paper
in a while.
mostly.
Yeah, yeah, and they don't get fired for anything.
Well, look at you know what's funny that you mentioned that is look at how quick he could rise up the ranks in the FBI. That guy McCabe only was a 20-year guy,
Yeah, yeah.
and he was already like at the head of it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
did he have a law degree? Because they love lawyers in the FBI.
I think they love accountants more.
Yeah, no, law, they like
yeah,
law
I
degrees
think
too.
he did have a law degree.
that's
but I
the
think
key.
he was because he was very loyal to Comey.
Yeah.
So that's why he got that position.
Yeah,
but no,
two-
you're right though.
two-
You're
two
right.
very
20
two very
years, you're
unimpressive
already-
guys too. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
Think of when was the last time somebody with 20 years on the job became the chief of police here in New York?
It's
Yeah,
starting
Or
to
any
happen.
major-
It's happening now, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Chief,
Oh,
of,
yeah.
Chief of Patrol is 19 years. The
Yeah.
Matarasso, she has 19 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Two-star chief. Yeah, it's starting to happen. I'm not saying they don't deserve it, but yeah, it used to be unheard of.
Yeah.
Did you always want to be a cop?
No, you know, when I went to the military, it was after that I started thinking.
So you went to the
about
military right after high school?
it. Right after high school.
And that's when the Gulf War was?
No, I was in before, and then I stayed in the reserves.
Okay.
And then the reserves got activated.
What branch of the military were you in?
Army.
Army. We don't ask for experience, we give it.
Oh, they gave it all right.
What was that like? Did you like it?
That was great. You know, I was a paratrooper.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it was nice.
How your knees?
Fighting
Oh, they're great.
soldiers
Really?
from
I
the
got
sky.
brand new knees.
You see, that's what I'm asking you.
Yeah. Oh, they were shot.
You got knee replacements
Both of them. Knee
Holy
replacements.
because of that. Because of that jumping.
Yeah, all of it. Yeah.
How
yeah,
many
the
jumps
training.
did you do?
About 40.
I want to know why 40 came into my head, but that's exactly the number that I thought of. Thanks for playing along, by the way.
There was a detective
It's not.
in the
It's
3-3.
horrible for your knees. What is the impact exactly compared to? Every landing is like what?
It's about a 6-foot wall.
So jumping
pretty
off a
high, man.
Yeah, but you're when you're training, you're jumping like 1,000 times off a 6-foot wall.
Wow.
And this was like, you know, it's not today. It's before all this. Paratroopers used to run in boots. They no longer do. Now they run in sneakers. But way back, they ran in boots. Before all the, even politically correct and military became.
Isn't that funny when you look at pictures of people back then? They used to play sports in like leather shoes, black leather shoes. Like the first dude that had a pair of sneakers, right? You ever see those Chuck Taylors that they used to wear? It was like a piece of rubber and 2 pieces of canvas, with it, right? That was it.
Those Converse Chuck Taylors, yeah.
Yeah.
The
The early
break
version,
now?
especially, but you could still see.
And that was the premier sneaker in basketball.
Oh, when I
that
used to
was
go-
the shoe.
When I used to go to the boarding schools, and when we used to go outside and play in the middle of the day, we would be in a uniform, and you'd be playing all your sports in leather shoes, leather black shoes, baseball, basketball, because we were already in the uniform.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, we
Now
didn't-
there's different sneakers for different sports, right?
I know.
Running sneakers, tennis sneakers, basketball, they're all different.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
so you got
even-
both
yeah.
your knees replaced. How
Both
was
of
that?
them, yeah.
At the same
That's
time?
supposed to hurt.
No,
too.
no, because I was too young. The doctor.
What
didn't
age
want
did
to.
you have them replaced?
I had one of them replaced about 6 years ago, and then about 4 years
If
ago.
you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 55.
Okay, hey, you look
Yeah.
good.
I just had my hip replaced last
So-
year.
Did you?
Yeah.
So the left one you had at 50.
Yes. And oh no, yeah, about 49.
Was
and
it
then-
because of what? Arthritis?
Yeah, everything kicked in over the years, but that did start it. All that training. That did
How
start it.
how bad was your inflammation?
Oh, I was bone on bone. I mean, it was.
So you
it
would
was
swell
rubbing,
up
yeah.
like whenever the barometric pressure drops.
I was limping around the house. I mean, it was bad.
I go through that too. That's why I know what I'm. And all the terms, man.
You think you need a new knee?
Well, they said I'm gonna have to get one eventually, but I figured let me drop some weight and.
Well, that's a big part of it too. He's going to tell you to drop weight if you need to.
Yeah.
Even when I went for mine, I mean, I was a pretty good weight, but he always tells people to drop their weight first.
So how does it feel now?
Feels fantastic.
Really?
I actually grew half an inch.
You did?
Yeah, because I had bow legs. So he told me, you're gonna grow half an inch in height, and I did.
Oh, yeah. You had bow legs?
Yeah. Not too bad, but they
Was that,
did.
was that from riding horses?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a cool look, that bow leg thing.
Yeah.
Like you look like an athlete.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess.
You
yeah.
fast?
I was pretty fast,
I think the bow legs give you a little speed.
but it was nice. It was nice coming out, and the legs are a lot straighter now. It's still a little bow-legged, but a lot straighter.
So you got the. So you said 1,000 times off a 6-foot wall, man.
And that's all the time. It's training every day.
Well, what do you
Every day?
think the old
Why?
President Bush, the old man, had a lot of jumps. In fact, he did a jump, I think, on his 85th or 90th birthday.
Yeah.
But you also, when
It's a real
you
deal.
jump, you got to roll over, right?
Yeah, or else you might break your ankles. A lot of broken ankles.
Wow.
During
Rashad,
jumps,
you talking like you were in the army too?
He was.
You were a paratrooper too?
No, but I had on a training room.
Uh-huh.
I was a medic.
Oh, okay.
So you were treating those sore ankles?
Come over here, you. I got a bunion.
He's got the ice packs. Get him over here.
Come over here, you. I got a bunion. All right, so, wow, man, I always wondered about that, the jumping. So, why do you have to practice so much, though? I mean, if you got it, you got it. What do we keep doing this shit for?
So then, if you jump into combat, you don't have 100 guys on the beach with broken ankles. You got to be ready.
So they want you to train.
Yeah, they want you to be ready for that jump. That one day they need you.
And how many years did you do in the military?
Well, I jumped. I was 2 years. But
Yeah.
then when I got out, I stayed in the reserves for several years.
Because you just wanted that free shit from the PX, right?
Oh, that's what it was.
Typical
yeah.
cop, man. I want to go to that PX and get the cigarettes and all that.
How
free
long did you
shit.
stay in the reserve?
For about another 10 years or so.
All right, when did you come on the job?
Came on the job in 90,
Oh, okay, I came in 92.
April 90.
90.
Because there was 2 classes.
That's the crack epidemic right there.
Oh yeah. That
Where
was,
did they put you when you were in FTU, right? Did they call it FTU, or is it?
Yeah. It was the last. Actually, I think it was the last FTU class.
No, I was in FTU, too.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
I was in
92.
NSU. It was different.
were
Neighborhood
in
Stabilization
NSU,
Unit.
Yeah. No, I wasn't NSU. I was in FTU. I thought we were the last.
That's when men
class.
were men in
you
NSU.
go.
Then they changed it to FTU.
Men were men, and so were the women.
Yeah.
What did they? Then they had after FTU. They had impact. Cops learned nothing, right? They learned shit. Impact.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, I
they
was in
learned how
Impact
to
for
wait
3 years.
summonses.
Yeah, exactly. Write
Oh
summonses.
yeah,
Right
that's what they did.
summonses
They would throw
and,
guys in a van and have them drive out and write summonses, and they
Right.
really learn the job.
No, they didn't learn
They
anything
also
at all.
learned how to make shoplifting collars, too.
Yeah, and they were like scarecrows. Scare people
So,
off the corner.
what was your first command?
Well, FTU, so it was 4-1, 4-3, 4-5.
Oh, so you stayed in the Bronx.
Well, yeah, just for the FTU, but then I was mostly in the 4-1, 4-3, and then after that I went to the 3-4.
Oh, so then after
Oh, you got hooked up, man.
Yeah, you
Someone
called up.
hooked your
You
ass
made
up.
your call.
Maybe before.
They put that call
First-
and said, "Yo."
First he wanted to stay in the Bronx. This kid, he's already a pain in the ass.
So
this
you
kid.
know if it's a borough jump.
First he wanted to stay in the Bronx. Yeah. I think I want to be close to home. I mean, why not? Right? Everybody's telling me stay close to home. Okay, yeah, I'll stay close. And then he goes, I'm bored of the Bronx. 6 months later, somebody told me I should go where the action is.
3-4.
Yeah.
Well, it was nice because I lived in Riverdale at the time.
Oh, so you
I
just-
would jump
Beautiful.
on the one train. I didn't have a car, so I would jump on the one train, and I was still.
There's a
working.
New York City guy, right? And that's the only place in the world you can not have a car in New York City,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but
No,
lived in
what
the
would
Bronx,
you do
though.
if you lived in the suburbs? You have to have a car in the
Yeah, in the
suburbs. You
Bronx.
can't get anywhere.
Yeah.
You can get around in the Bronx without a car.
Nah, not really. It depends on what part of the Bronx you live in.
So when you wanted to take a girl on a date, we say, "Yo, you want to come with me on a train?" We're going on a date. We're taking the train.
I went on a lot of dates on the train.
Did you really?
Yeah, but I was like 14, 15, 16.
Okay.
No, eventually I got a car, but the first year or so I didn't have
Yeah.
a car.
Were you a big overtime guy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Big.
You a big collar guy in the beginning?
I was. I used to make a lot of collars, a lot of overtime.
Uh-huh.
It was actually funny because when I was
What tour did you do?
we flipped days and 4 to 12s.
Oh, what are you? What is that?
Scooter chart.
Yeah, we did a scooter, and then they went to steady tours. Probably about when they go to steady tours, like '93.
Yeah, it was the worst thing that ever happened to the job.
No,
I
it was
think.
'92 when I came out. They were doing steady
They were doing
tours.
steady tours. Yeah, I think it was some precincts. 3-4 was one of the first ones. So I went to day tours because it was easy to collar up and then go around the clock.
The lead was flying back then in the 3-4, right?
Oh man, it was a constant run.
Yeah.
Constant. There was great cops there, much
How
better
many?
than me.
You laid down any lead back then?
Yeah, we were in shootings.
Yeah, huh?
No, not we.
Well,
Well,
officially,
did you lay
yes.
down any lead?
Yes.
How much lead did you lay down?
Officially, like Mike Hybrid said. I was on the floor laughing when he said that because I know what he's talking about.
Officially,
You know?
how much lead did you
Officially
lay down?
2.
2, okay.
Officially
So you were in 2 shootings.
So funny,
Did you
officially.
get any recipient lead? Any lead coming your way?
Yes.
Oh, they fired at you
Yes,
too.
they did,
So
yeah.
you must have a combat cross then.
No,
Even on the
Medal
day
of Valor.
tours.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this.
Really?
Yeah,
Another
yeah.
Medal of Valor winner. Did you had 50 EPDs that you traded in for the medal?
That's a
No, I got
building.
one of those Medal of Valors, the community affairs
Community affairs
Remember
one,
that?
yeah.
They had that for about a year or two. Remember that?
Till the Warriors were so
Yeah,
pissed.
yeah,
The
yeah.
department tried to give a community affairs Medal of Valor, and these guys getting shot and shooting people. They were like, "Are you fucking kidding?"
Yeah, you're embarrassed because you go to Medal Day.
Yeah, and
and
some
then you
little
listen to all
bucket.
these stories,
Yeah.
and then you hear your story, and you're like, you don't want to get
He
up.
devised a way to clean up the park and
like-
got the community involved.
It's like getting that detective shield, but it's like a specialist
Yeah,
shield.
the
Yeah,
specialist,
exactly. Yeah,
What is
exactly,
that?
Exactly.
What is the fucking specialist shield?
He found
Nice.
out how to get alcohol prep pads so they could wipe off discs of the commissioner.
And that's what it was. Yeah, they actually had a Medal of Valor for community affairs.
Yeah, I
or
remember
whatever
that. It was
yeah.
disgusting.
For about a year, and then
You know,
there was
they
too
should
many
have a
complaints.
special awards day for that, where all the dickhead politicians should go to it and
Yeah,
give
yeah,
to
yeah.
the community affairs
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Oh man, I could have got one of those.
Sorry,
Probably too.
I'm a ranter. My wife calls me a ranter. She goes, "All you do is rant."
You're angry,
I'm
Bill.
an angry guy.
Thank God we got this podcast.
I know. I don't know what I
You
do. I'd
vent.
probably be in a mental.
Otherwise,
hospital.
your wife would have to listen to all of this.
My kids' girlfriends are going, "All your dad does is rant." I said, "Tell them to shut up till they fucking marry you."
Well, that's what you do for a living, right? You rant.
That's right.
Yeah,
rant.
he's a
You make
rant.
people laugh
He's a
and
rant.
rant.
Yeah, he's a
Mark's
rant.
more of like a smoother comic.
No,
he kicks
that's not-
ass.
He does.
That's
I
not
know.
at
I
all.
see that.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I'm going to Connecticut with him.
That's right. He slays.
3-4, man. My grandmother's still up there on 108th and Broadway. That neighborhood, it's changed. You know, it's
Yeah, it's gotten very
Gentrified.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, man. Like you see white people walking around for no reason up there. You're like, what the hell are you doing up here?
Yeah.
Like not even like I'm not talking about the white people that used to be in Washington Heights before, because you had Greeks, you had Irish, but somehow they had a sprinkle of Dominican on them. You know, you could just see it in them. Like
Mira.
no, I'm just talking about attitude. I'm talking about attitude. You know, they look like they were from the neighborhood, and they talk that way too. And now you see people like you took them right out of Brooklyn, Williamsburg, and then you put them over here. They just look out of place.
Yeah, there's Starbucks now in Washington Heights.
Oh
There's,
man, I hate Starbucks.
yeah, it's all over.
I just hate everything they stand for.
Very gentrified up there.
Do you know what I'm talking about? About that white guy that lives like in the Bronx, for example. You know, that's where you're from.
Yeah. And he
It's
thinks
a
he's-
different attitude.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Or you talk about someone from the Midwest that just plops down somewhere in New York
don't even
City
think
and
they're
they
from
act
the-
like they own the place,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you know the funniest thing too is that when you grow up like in New York City and your family has money, and then you don't even want to stay there anymore because you want to go to the hip area.
You
So
want
you
to be
actually
hip.
tell Ma, Dad, I want to get an apartment with my wife in Brooklyn. Can you get that one for us over there,
Well, have
please?
you been to the-
We want to be where it's cool.
Have you been to the Dumbo area of Brooklyn? It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, there's a
Yeah,
lot. Listen,
yeah.
there's a lot of cool things
It's really
over
cool.
there.
Williamsburg. You know, I didn't
think-
even know what a hipster was till someone pointed it out to me. Like, you see that guy? I'm like, oh shit, that's
Well,
what a
you had
hipster is.
a lot of Washington Heights. You had a lot of people that used to live on Columbus Avenue can no longer afford it.
Yeah.
And moved to the Heights, but they want Columbus Avenue in Washington Heights.
Right.
And then the complaints they would present would be, dog walkers and
Yeah.
they want Columbus Avenue in the Heights. You're just not going to get it.
No.
Yeah. Or somebody was walking their dog off the leash, or they're sitting in front of the building playing music all night. Yeah, no shit.
Or delivery
yeah. It's
people riding
Washington
the
Heights.
bikes on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
It's Washington. It's not Second Avenue.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be people out. You moved up here.
Right.
Assimilate.
They used to complain about gunfire.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's bicycles on the sidewalk,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, really, they really complain that there's
Oh,
people
yeah.
sitting in front of the building
Yeah,
listening
yeah.
to music at
They
night.
did. Yep.
This is New York City,
Yep.
right?
They sure did. Yeah. Especially up in the northern part, like 215th.
Oh
Terrace
yeah,
Park
yeah. I
West.
suppose
Oh,
yeah.
my
You get
God,
up. You get the higher you get up there.
Yep.
How long did you stay there for in the 3-4?
Well, I was there in the 3-4 for about 4 years. Then they broke up. They
3-3.
split.
Then it went to
the 3-3.
3-3. So I went to the 3-3.
3-3 is pretty slow now.
Yeah, now
It's
it
not
is. Yeah,
really-
I didn't have a choice. I put in for the 3-4, so of course they.
Where is the line over there with the 3-3 and the 3-4?
155? 155 to 179.
But what's the avenue?
Well,
West
it goes river to river.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still the same. It's just the north and south change.
So the 3-4 starts at
155. Oh, I'm sorry. The 3-4 starts at 225th, and then down to 179.
179th
And
Street.
one side of 179th Street, and then the 3-3 picks up, and then takes
179
it
to 155?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So at the time, it was busier. It was a busy. The 3-3 was the busier part of the area, but that slowed down a lot.
But I mean, geographically, the 3-4 was huge when you think.
Oh,
of it.
yeah.
When it was
Oh, yeah,
the
it was-
whole.
we had about
when
400
you
cops.
take when you
Yeah.
take in account all the way uptown too, by the cloisters over there,
Yeah.
and Inwood over there, they covered all that stuff. Even though
Roll
they
call. Roll call was like 45 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, huh?
It was all one sector after another, like King Mike and all
Wow.
kinds of sectors. Yeah, it was. Wow,
How many cars are they putting out?
They were putting out a lot on a day tour, on a 4 to 12, a lot.
Wow,
A
that's
lot of
interesting.
cars.
That's
You know?
interesting. Yeah, I guess it needed to be two commands.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was in Warrants, and then they shipped some people up to the 3-3 over there from Manhattan Warrants. That made our office on 98th Street a little bit more livable.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have to go up there. I liked staying on 98th Street because you were on 98th Street and 3rd Avenue was
Mm-hmm.
fucking.
But the other thing with the 3-4
My gym
back
was
then,
across the street.
there was tons of different police agencies working up there.
Yeah,
right?
oh, yeah,
You had the
yeah.
DEA, right?
Yeah.
You had all these narcotics units, so you didn't know who the hell was who up there,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, where is that narcotics building? That weird one.
Oh, it's in the Armory.
No, it's either in the Bronx or up there. I think it's with the one in the
What,
Bronx.
3280 Broadway?
No,
That was my office.
That was
That's
your
where
office,
IAB is. You've
homicide.
No,
probably
I'm
been
talking
there.
about that building I think it's in the Bronx, man. And you ever watch TV shows, and you're like, who has an office like this,
Oh, you mean on Fordham Road, like Fordham Plaza? Over
yeah,
there?
like it's fun
yeah.
because sometimes on the TV shows they embellish, like we have these really cool offices, and
Oh,
we
yeah.
really don't.
We
Most
don't
of the
have
places
cool offices, definitely
they look
not.
like shit. But this place that I went to in the Bronx over there, the narcotics place, they had like a fish tank in there. And it was like it was like cool, man. And they said that it used to be a soundstage or something
Was
like
that
that.
was that bacala in the tank or what?
Do you remember? Do you know the place I'm talking about?
No, I know the place in Manhattan over in the 3-2, over by the river, by the FDR.
What was that place?
That's like the big armory.
Yeah, the
Narcotics was up
Armory,
there.
yeah.
Nah, but it did.
Yeah. Didn't they move out of there?
And then they were in PSA 5, I think, for a while,
Yes,
right?
yes.
I remember they had gangs up there because I went over there to show them some pictures, and we went through some gang pictures and stuff.
You know, when my office was in 3280 Broadway, which is a nice building, and Special Victims was right across the hall, and then the hall with it was the cheese unit, the IAB guys, right?
Uh-huh.
But Special Victims, for some stupid reason, moved to PSA 5. And you got to realize, Special Victims is the whole borough of Manhattan. So people that were victims of a sex crime now had to go up into Harlem to PSA 5. They were like, oh my God, they had just been victimized in a sex crime.
yeah.
And now they're going into the belly of the beast to report it.
Oh, yeah,
they
that's
were
hard.
not happy.
Yeah, yeah. And you never know who you're running into in terms of people, even in the 3-3. You'd run into different politicians and
Oh, yeah.
apartments and stuff like that. There was actually one time.
Oh,
I
living
went-
in it?
Yeah, yeah. One time I went on a call, and an elderly black lady, really nice lady, like a church lady. Everything was, God bless you, God bless you. She had a bonnet on. And something happened. Part of a ceiling fell in, so I was taking an aided card. And she's telling me I'm making conversation with her, and she tells me that her grandson was a New York City police officer. So I just making conversation. So that's very nice. And I just happened to say, where did he work? And she said 3-4. And I said, oh, that's interesting. I said, what was his name? And she said, Eddie Mitchell. And I said, Eddie Mitchell, that rings a bell. Why does that ring a bell? And she says, oh, he was killed in the line of duty in July of '77 in the 3-4.
Wow.
And all I could do was look at her. I felt horrible. I just felt absolutely horrible.
Did you fix the ceiling after that?
Well, I put in the aided card, and we actually went to we got her flowers, and we brought them back to her.
Nice.
It was horrible. I mean, it's just the woman's,
cops have such a great heart. They do.
They do.
Hear something like that.
Yeah,
it really touches you, and guys been known to buy kids bicycles and stuff that were robbed, and it's a great thing.
Yeah.
Usually, if you said you don't know who lives up there, and you rent an apartment up there. My grandmother's been there for 55 years, more than that.
Wow.
55. Imagine you rent an apartment to somebody and they're still there 55 years later.
You owe the rent from 19.
I'm a little behind on the rent. No, but think about it. I mean, the rent is like $500-600.
Oh, I know. I went on a aided case one time. A woman, I was a sergeant back then. A woman collapsed. She died. But I found her old papers. She was in the apartment 75 years.
Oh, wow.
God.
Yeah, on 185 in St. Nick, and found all her old papers and stuff. And I think she was paying like $100 a month. It was really, the
Was
landlord
it a
must
big
have been
apartment
happy.
or what?
It was huge.
Wow.
It was huge. But Con Ed had shut off her power months ago. I mean, she was dead 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you apply for the lease?
Yeah.
Did you give her CPR?
No, actually, I was walking over. It was pitch black in the daytime. It was pitch black. I couldn't see. And I looked down, and the one piece that some women wear like around the house and stuff like that, that was on the floor next to the door. And in that one piece was a skeleton with hair.
Oh, yeah.
And
the body.
She was, and it was horrible. And then underneath the door was stuck a note. And it said, please help me, I've fallen. She wrote it and then tried to stick it on the door, and it didn't get out.
Oh,
it was stuck. Oh, it was horrible to see that. Yeah, I guess she fell and just starved to death.
That's horrible.
Oh, it was horrible, yeah.
Yeah, that's a bad way to go, man. Shit. I always think about that kind of stuff because I figure I'm going to catch a bad one.
Well, you live alone, right? That could happen to you.
Yeah.
Coming home from one of your shows,
It's
you're
like-
all high about you did great, you slayed. What's the word you use? You kicked ass, whatever.
I don't know. You made this stuff up, so you keep going with it.
I could tell he was a star in high school. I could tell.
What was the Barbara Butcher called it?
Stench of loneliness.
Stench of
Stench of loneliness.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what a term. She said Hirsch.
I can't
invented
believe
that.
the people in the building. I mean, the 6 months. Look, we were just before we started the show. There was something in the fridge that went bad, and we were yelling, "Get it out! Get it out!"
That was the stench of laziness.
But the thing is it's like usually everybody, your neighbors, will smell it first, and then at some point that the body's going to liquefy. It's going to start coming through the floor. It probably went, and the people downstairs never complained about that either.
Yeah.
Because it'll keep going. It'll go through all the,
Yeah, it was strange. It was just a skeleton. I don't know, how that body decomposed like that. It must have gone through the floor.
Yeah.
I've had that too as a sergeant. When you went to an apartment of like a hoarder, and the garbage was like up above my head, and I could tell there was a body in it because I could smell it. Was the lady was dead, and social workers for like the past 6 months have been putting eviction notices under the door, and we finally get in there and we're like, what the you didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
It took time, and we followed the smell and. Sure, we found the body.
Wow.
It was.
Yeah, hoarding is pretty interesting, right? We were all retired from the job, and we've all been gone to a location where the person opens the door, but they can't get it, and you're like, "Come on!" And you're pushing the door back, but it won't go back, and you realize, "Oh, that's because it's nothing but crap."
Garbage.
There's like a foot. You got to step up to get in and duck down to walk through the whole apartment. You're walking on mounds of garbage. Oh my God!
People don't even comprehend what we've seen.
Oh yeah,
the things we've seen with these eyes.
And you have to laugh at it because if you don't, it'll just eat you up. It'll eat you up.
I mean, they have that show with the hoarders on TV, and the family comes there, and they try to get him to, get rid of some of this
My
stuff.
wife calls me a hoarder.
Yeah.
Because I hate throwing shit away. I don't. But I mean, I'm not like that. But I mean, I just don't like to throw stuff away. Maybe because I was one of 8 kids, and
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe later on in life, that's how you're going to die.
Could be, man.
I'll die by myself in my
I hope it's
apartment.
after I come home from a show I killed like you did.
Yeah.
You didn't have a second locker then? You used one locker?
No, I had 2 lockers.
2 lockers?
Yeah,
I'm going to pass out in my house by myself.
Anyone seen Mark? He hasn't been around. But he lives alone. Let's check on him.
Brings this interesting up. How long do you think you'll be dead before somebody looks for you?
That's a scary thing,
Huh?
right?
That's
very scary,
That's scary.
If
I would
no one
like
loves
to.
you, no one checks on you.
It'd have to be, like, with me, it'd have to be at least 2 days.
He was booked. Where is he? It's not like him not to show up for the show.
Well, I mean, the only people that would, I guess, look for me right off the bat would be if I was still working at the place I'm working at now. They would probably want, like, he didn't call, nothing, and somebody would pick up the phone and call.
Yeah.
But this idea that 2 people would call each other and,
My wife would probably call. My kids don't give a shit about me.
yeah, she'd wait though, I guess. How many weeks do you think your wife would wait before
No,
she
she
called?
comes home she works. You
No,
know?
I'm just saying.
I just do this.
How many weeks do you think she'd come home and keep going out without?
I wonder where he is.
You call the insurance company
Whatever you
first.
do, don't go down the basement.
His car's not here.
How long do you think you'd be dead before people
You
notice?
cops out there, this could be you. Make sure you get a big pension. Did you have your will done, Mark?
No, but I have life insurance.
Yeah, no, but you have that do not resuscitate. I joke.
No,
I
no.
have a do resuscitate
Mine
because
says
they want to
do
keep me
whatever.
alive as long as possible, so you keep collecting my pension.
Get to the end of the month.
That's right. Do resuscitate. Keep the 60-pound dead man alive.
Keep pumping air.
Keep fucking.
Pumping air.
Because when he dies, so does his pension.
Yeah.
I remember my father had cancer, and when he passed away, like, he was having such a hard time breathing. He had this whole thing over his head, and it looked for a while like his chest was going up and down, but it had flatlined already. But it was just the machine working.
Yes.
And I have a feeling like that's what they're gonna do to you, Bill. He's
gonna flatline?
Look, his chest is still going up. It's just air. No, he's fine. He's fine.
And they'll be empty bottles. He drinks pretty good Cabernet, man. He doesn't drink cheap, shitty wine. Napa Valley.
That's it. He's breathing.
Whereas if they found you, they'd say, Old English 800?
No, I don't drink Old
Colt 45?
You
Right out of the-
ever do that on a DOA?
What?
You want to get out of? End the tour. I think it was Christmas Day. End the tour. And the DOA were like, oh, man, we're stuck.
Yeah.
The partner goes, I saw him breathing. I saw life. And the family goes, bring him to the hospital. And the EMS is like, you owe me.
They used
Because
to
if
do
it's questioned by anyone, they
Right,
got to go to
that's
the
right.
hospital.
But they used to do that with homicides. I would fucking get so pissed off because it destroys the crime scene.
Right.
The guy's lit up with 16 shots. He's dead. And
Right.
some guy in patrol, take him to the hospital. Take him to the hospital. And we're like, you just destroyed the crime scene, you fuck.
It's funny what cops worry about, My crime scene.
Exactly.
But he's dying. But my crime scene.
No, but I mean, the guy was dead. There was no way he was alive. They brought a dead guy to the hospital because they didn't want, like you say,
Right.
they didn't want to sit on the DOA.
You don't understand. Resnick's gonna come and he's gonna be mad at me.
What does EMS have to do though? They bring it to the hospital and then
Well,
let's
then
just say-
they pronounce him there, but then at
pronounce
that
him.
point, it's out of the NYPD's hands.
yeah, but
We don't
what
get
is,
stuck with 'em.
as far as what EMS has to do afterwards? Like once they pronounce
just
him,
their report. And then
they just bring him downstairs to the.
No, let the hospital people do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, they bring him to like the
Yeah,
meat locker.
yeah,
down there.
yeah.
Crazy shit, right?
So it all.
All police politics,
Yep.
I
But
saw
you know
him.
what used to drive me crazy is when the precinct CO would send the first officer home on a homicide because he didn't want to pay him overtime.
Oh, yeah.
And then he would like, oh, I'm sorry, he went home, you
Yeah.
lying mother. You know,
Yeah.
he did it on purpose because he didn't want to pay him overtime.
Right.
I go, do you want this case solved? You
Yeah,
just sent
yeah.
the first officer.
Yeah. I used to see it all the time.
Yeah.
Not all the time. Once in a while, squad boss is coming in.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, he's interviewing the perp, and he's about to break him. He's like, you almost done, pumping him. And the guy's like, you know, you're interrupting me here. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
The
And
guy's
the
about to flip.
subtlest little thing can make the guy shut down. You know?
You
They
about to
come in.
flip. Yeah.
We don't want this a murder if we don't have to take it.
Yeah.
If this was an accident, we'd like to get rid of the number. Or precinct COs that would want to go in and interrogate the guy, captain, inspector.
Yeah.
Please,
Yeah.
please.
Exactly.
They'd want to go in there and go, wait a minute.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's not what I was taught as a captain.
No.
You show up to a scene, you know, what can I do for you? What do you need from me?
Right.
In terms of bodies, do you need canvas? Do you need aviation? What do you need from me?
Right.
That's it. Other than that, it's your call.
How about 5 or 6 pizzas?
Yeah.
Just send them to the squad.
Were you fond of?
call the
Was that your
PBA.
favorite rank, Captain?
No, probably lieutenant. Captain, at that point, you're really administration
right?
at
Yeah.
that point. You know, but lieutenant was
You
nice.
could, if you were a lieutenant that was the what's the guy, the special ops, that's a good job.
That's a nice job. I was special ops.
Yeah, because you can go out, you can play,
Right,
you can
right.
do whatever you want. You can actually do shit and
Right.
get away with it.
Yeah,
You could stir shit up, and then
And
when it
then
comes time to
leave.
time to take the college, just bounce. All
you
right,
go.
guys, I'll see you
That's
later. These guys are stuck with this bag of shit.
If it's a real heavy job, you
You
can
ever do that?
tell the sergeant, I'm out of here. You handle this. This may have IAB implications to it. Let the sergeant handle
Let me
it.
get out of here while the getting's good.
That's right. I gotta go. I got a meeting with the CO. I'm leaving.
Yeah, a lot of people. Lieutenant was always the best rank, and then I think it changed a little
Well,
bit.
they took
because
him off when the lieutenant had the desk. It sucked.
Yeah.
But then they made the lieutenant rank where you could do other things, right? And
Yeah,
special
yeah.
ops was the best.
Right.
You can make
Yeah.
a lot of overtime, right?
Well, they kept lieutenant on the desk after the I think the Lehman incident.
Yeah.
They wanted
Back on
authority
the desk, yeah.
But then it was too strict. It was like you were married to the desk. Lieutenant couldn't even go outside the door.
Well, you know, it was
bad.
as a sergeant on the desk too. You could get some of these other units, and they'd come in and try, like a lieutenant from say PMD would come in and try to like bully the desk officer,
Right.
And not even we have all these 300 things, and they wanted you to like store the shit for them, and like another lieutenant would go, "Hey, Lou, take a seat over there and take care of this shit. I'm not you. You know,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
isn't
yeah.
the local candy store. We're
Sure.
gonna take care of this, right? You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about, right?
yeah.
But as a sergeant, you'd have to listen to this
Right,
shit.
right.
You know,
That's a good rank, man.
lieutenant.
Yeah, the 3-4 was very busy in terms of all these outside units.
Did you ever?
Oh man, forget it. Transit, you know.
What was the biggest bag of shit you had to be in charge of, so that you couldn't just you get stuck with it
When I went to the
as
2-3.
as a boss?
Were you in the 2-3?
No.
What happened?
No.
He met Detective Pat in the 2-3. He calls him Tex. That was one of Porteous's nicknames, Tex.
That's how I knew him. You know, I think
Thanks.
it was because he wore cowboy boots, right? Is that why they called him Tex? Right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, no, he was a good detective.
We gotta have him back.
Porteous knows every VFW, every Elks Club from here to here to Albany, right?
He's community minded or bar minded?
No, the bar, wherever there's a 50 cent or $1 beer, he knows the place.
There you go.
Well, you know what? Let's switch up. Let's go up since you brought up the VFW hall. So, as chaplain up there, well, how often do you guys have to get together?
The meetings are once a month, but then there's other types of
course.
meetings, you know, breakfast meetings.
But like
and things
when you
like
tell
that.
your wife, that's a mandatory meeting. There's no. You
Well, I
should
tell-
do it like once a week.
Well, I tell my girl it's second Friday of the month, 8 o'clock.
Oh, yeah,
8
of
o'clock
course.
at night. Yeah.
Is it 8 to 4?
No. It's like a 1 hour meeting
2000 to 4?
Yeah.
1 hour meeting.
with a 1200 meal, with a 2400 meal.
That's right.
It should be an 8-hour mandatory overnight meeting.
Do you got a lot of cops up in that?
Yeah, Putnam is guns and hoses.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
firemen? You guys get along with the firemen?
Sure. A lot of
They
cops
tell a
are
lot of
firemen.
fireman war stories. I never hung out with firemen, so I don't know.
No, not really. I mean, a lot of the firemen up there, they go to the volunteer fire departments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they bring a lot to that aspect of it. So
Yeah, well, they got all
do.
this New York City Fire Department
Sure,
training, right?
Sure, best in the world.
Yeah. Well, so they
Yeah,
say.
isn't
So they
it
say.
funny how like you know the volunteer firefighters are looked at like like almost like regular firemen, like it's a heroic thing to do, and then you look at auxiliary cops and you're like, this guy's what the fucking idiot.
Why is this
Why
guy
is
doing
that?
this?
They're
Yeah,
doing this.
yeah.
They're doing the same exact thing. They're doing their job for no money.
Right.
And especially like, you know, if just think about, like I always talk about like extreme games, you know, they used to that show where you see the extreme games. But can you find something any more dangerous than putting a NYPD uniform on? Exactly. Uniform on and sticking them in like the most dangerous neighborhoods in New York.
Two
with no
auxiliary
gun.
cops in the 9th got executed.
I was working that. I was working. I was doing comedy that night.
Yeah. Executed for
I was
wearing
doing
a
comedy that
uniform,
night.
right?
Right on. It was right around. It happened right. I was at the. It was called Comedy Village.
Did you kill that night?
No, yeah. I recall that. Yeah, I killed that night. I remember that. I remember that incident happening right
That's
around
crazy,
the corner.
right?
Yeah.
Wow.
But you know, it's the same thing like with traffic. Traffic, we used to call them the brownies. They wore
Right.
brown uniforms, but the city was like, you know something? Want to get more bang for the buck? Put them in the same uniforms as cops.
Yeah.
This way, it'll be like omnipresence. They don't have guns, and you know, we'll get the bang.
That's I wonder who thought of that, because that's actually brilliant, really.
That they did that. That's why they did it.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And there's a guy making, I don't know what they make, 30,000 a year maybe. I don't know what is
Well,
it.
I thought Dinkins did that because
I think he did.
That's what he thought of cops, like basically meter maids.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what
yeah.
that was the rumor, but
Yeah.
it may have been that because they were getting assaulted left and
Oh
right.
yeah,
these
but
guys.
I mean remember that was the whole thing you learned in the county, omnipresence.
Right.
Make it look like
You
the
know, it's-
police are
yeah,
everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah.
It's funny when people have that attitude. It's usually I don't know why it strikes me as academia. You know, it's an arrogance.
Oh.
And the irony is that you don't realize one thing. It's just that freaking guy that barely, you know, he had his GED and that, you know, he came on the job and he's definitely not as smart as you are. But guess what? He could take all your freedom away,
Yeah.
like this,
Yeah.
and there's not a thing you can do about it.
No. And he could save your life too. On the other hand.
Yeah, that's true too.
Right.
That's true
I
too.
hate that academic, the arrogance of academia. You know, when I read.
Well, it goes hand. I'm not. It's also money too. There's a certain amount of, because you know you have this power as a man. And you see the arrogance when people get pulled over. We've seen the videos now, from all different
yeah.
type of.
but that's being
your
encouraged.
government.
That's being encouraged.
But they get caught on video and they have to resign because they look like idiots because they're talking down to police
Right,
officers and
right.
showing their. Do you know who I am?
I
You
know
know, tinning their way
I
with
know
some
exactly who you are.
some commissioner shield. You know, some.
Say hello to my little
it's not
friend.
even. It's not even an elected. It's not even an elected spot. It's something that's
Right.
given to you by the government. Who's that? You remember the lady in Jersey?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
that.
The
Yeah,
arrogant
yeah.
lady.
Yeah.
I want to know why you pulled. I don't have to tell you that.
Yeah,
Yes, you do. No, I don't.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, but
That's why knowledge is power as a cop. You know the law.
but it's
and
funny.
you know
Like you
where-
get that power and you have that money, and you know it's working for you everywhere. Except once you get pulled over, and everybody becomes normal. Everybody becomes. That's the great equalizer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, I don't
Yeah,
like being
whoop,
pulled. I don't like being pulled over now either.
If you're driving and you hear this whoop whoop, that's a great equalizer, man.
Sure is, man.
I saw a video of the lieutenant getting pulled over in his command. It wasn't here in New York, out of state somewhere. In his command, DUI, and they had to call the covering lieutenant over because he wasn't, he was boxed, and they were trying to get him to, to comply. And he was. Did you see the video I'm
I
talking
didn't
about?
see it. No.
Oh, it's on video?
Yeah, it's
Oh, wow.
it's so fucking sad
That's
because you know
horrible.
that guy's doomed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should have just taken him home, put him to bed.
But now they got the cameras
Yeah,
on
it's
them.
true. It's crazy.
And I read something else about that, like, guys, cops indicating to each other that have a camera
The
on.
camera's on. Oh,
You know?
how horrible!
Yeah,
how horrible!
yeah.
We're trying to protect each other. You know.
Well, I mean,
What do you
don't
think
they?
politicians do to protect each other?
Don't
They
they-
probably,
Well, they throw out servers.
Yeah. Yeah, right. They destroy blackberries with hammers.
That's the least of it.
That's right. They wipe servers clean. You mean like with a cloth? You
They
said
get,
that? Oh,
they
God.
get prosecutors fired
Yeah, exactly.
for opening up cases against their sons. That's another thing they do. It's all. Listen, it's all power.
But don't indicate to another cop that the camera's on.
Well, I mean, I also read an article that they're all pretty much have cameras on them now.
Yeah, but now the ACLU, they don't like the cameras. They wanted the cameras. Now they don't like
Yeah,
them
They don't
anymore.
like the cameras
it's an
because they
invasion
don't
of
have any more
privacy.
cases anymore.
It's showing that
They
the
don't have any
defendants
more
are guilty.
People are not, they don't have these lawsuits. I would love to see the numbers of lawsuits against the city. Let's just say New York City police officers, how much they've dropped since body cams. I guarantee there's been a significant drop. Yeah. There has to be, because every time you go like, well, let's look at that. That's not good.
Yeah, but especially the nonsense lawsuits.
Yeah.
Drop
oh
big time,
yeah, significant.
Yeah, like $5,000, $10,000 lawsuits.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what makes them drop is having the posture to follow it through.
Right.
If the city fights it,
Right,
you see how all these frivolous lawsuits will drop to nothing. When I got promoted back in the day, there was a lieutenant from the legal bureau, and he says Disney World has a posture of fighting every single lawsuit that they get sued. He goes, as a result, almost no one sues them because the attorneys know, no, I'm not taking that case.
Yeah.
I could work for a year, and then they're going to fight us.
Right,
It's going to cost me a fortune to win the money. Good. I think that's a good strategy.
I've heard Allstate Insurance is like that. That's
Is
what
that
I've
right?
heard. Yeah.
There's probably a lot of investigators from our job working for Allstate.
Oh yeah, I know.
You're in good
guys.
hands with Allstate.
Allstate, yeah, very good hands.
What's the other? I love the one. We've learned a thing or two because we know a thing or two. What is it? The guy, the
farmers.
Farmers.
Farmers,
We
yeah.
are farmers.
Yeah.
They all have.
Yeah, and each one of those cases, those claims, they've covered at one point in their
Right.
Yeah, those actual real
they
claims.
What are you talking about?
Like you see the commercial where it'll say like a moose hits the car, or something like that, something weird.
Well, that's a real case.
Farmer. That's an actual claim they handled, or maybe something falling out of the sky.
Yeah.
You know,
Comedian slips and falls coming home.
in Connecticut.
I jumped off the stage there's a club on 116th Street, just at a mic, and I was so stupid, man. I was like, I'm 63 years old now. This was about 3 years ago. So I was 60 years old. All the young comics, like 4 feet high, all the young comics are bounding or just jumping, right? So I said, fuck it. So I jump off it, and they're like, I hear all the young comics go, you see Cannon, man? He just jumped off that stage. I've paid for that every day since. Jumping off a 4-foot stage. What did I think? What was I thinking?
I thought you were a paratrooper,
Yeah,
man.
I thought
That's
I thought it was with him.
That's it.
Yeah.
Fighting soldiers from the sky.
You know what? I'm going to use an elevator. I've come up with in my mind that I'm going to use an elevator every single opportunity I have.
To get to the stage?
We only have a certain amount of steps in us, man. We only have a certain amount of leaps, a certain amount of sprints.
That's
we're like
true,
machines. We're like cars. You know what I'm saying? And
That's true.
Like the reason why I came up with this idea was because I was thinking about, that guy that you see in the club, the guy who's over 50, who's still going out to clubs. Mm-hmm. And what I explained it to the young girls is, listen, that guy, what happened to him was he's still got leftover load, because, he made it late. He probably collected his money and got his things out of his mother's basement, whatever, and he held on to it. Now he's got a nice car, he's got a decent apartment, and he's got his rap together because he's 35 years older than every single girl in this place. So obviously he can manipulate him. That's that guy, and he's probably still decent in bed because he's got a lot of leftover loads. Like he didn't use them as a kid. Me, when I was about that time, I'm 30, 32, 33. I'm done. I'm like an old man right now.
I'm taking the elevator.
That's how much I wasted as a kid. I didn't know.
You see that
I didn't have this theory then.
I was just down in Florida. You see that all the time in Florida. You see these young girls drop dead gorgeous. They have the fake boobs. They're all, and they're with 75-year-old men. Big sugar daddies taking care of them.
There was a guy, 65 years old, a billionaire, went to get a penis enlargement and died. He had a heart attack.
Why did he die?
A billionaire. Well, he had a heart attack during the surgery. It wasn't from the surgery.
Is there a moral to this story or something?
Yeah. I want to. How many inches can you get? That's all I kept thinking about. Wait a minute, enlargement. How much does it cost? What are we talking about here? Shots? There's options? Really?
Oh my God!
I learned more about just by reading that article. You didn't hear about that guy, the Indian guy?
Nah.
A billionaire, man.
I must have missed that.
Yeah, billionaire, 65 years old.
Oh, he's a billionaire. Wow.
Yeah, that's all. It's speaking of, but this guy who lost $500 million of his own money, obviously Bloomberg.
Bloomberg.
Yeah,
Wow, what a weight.
Yeah.
What a waste of money. You know, he's not like people, whatever people think. He wasn't a very popular mayor with the police down here. I mean, he was sort of like in the middle.
Yeah.
He tried to take our variable supplement.
Oh yeah, yeah. He
know.
said it was a Christmas
Yeah,
bonus.
it was a
Yeah,
Christmas
yeah,
bonus.
yeah.
Just imagine that. Why are you motivated to take?
Well, it was in
There's
between.
more freebies in this city for every
Right.
group, and that we work for that, and
Right,
you're trying
right.
to take
It
it,
was
from us.
a bargaining. I don't think he ever wanted the money, but he wanted us to
Nah, he
bargain in good faith for
The
the
unions
contract.
had to go to Albany to fight it, and they got the Albany politicians to actually take our back for a
Wait,
change.
if you look around, he's got. If you look at the city, the way it's structured now, he had a lot to do with that. Like,
The traffic pattern.
well,
he
also
started
to the
that.
amount of people that come into the city and how quick they leave.
Yeah.
You know, when I was a kid growing up here, you'll probably remember too. Like, we used to do stuff and like, let's go to the city tonight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a nightclub or a decent bar, maybe in our neighborhood, maybe in the next neighborhood over. But you know, you wanted to have a good night out, man. You came to the city.
Right.
That doesn't happen as much anymore the way it used to.
Such a pain in the ass to come into the city now.
Yeah, I mean,
Driving
but
into the
look at what
city's hard.
happened.
Yeah.
The boroughs developed, though. I mean, we talked about Brooklyn earlier, and Dumbo. You mentioned how nice it was over
Beautiful
there.
areas, yeah.
And every place, you know, if you want to get good seafood, you could go to City Island in the Bronx. And there's a lot of different places. They're being showcased constantly, and that's all Bloomberg. You know, he wanted you to come to work in the city, and then at 5 o'clock, get the fuck out, go home.
The only policy I loved of his, I thought it was great, was with the homeless people. He would give them a one-way flight anywhere in the country. The homeless.
To go
And they would
visit
say,
their
you want to go
family?"
to Hawaii? Here you go, but you cannot come back. Now
course
you're
they-
Hawaii's problem.
He ran the city like a
business.
like a business.
Yeah.
And but there was no heart. I mean, it is true. Like with the stop, question, and frisk.
Yeah.
It's always called stop.
I
and
hate
frisk,
when they
and
call
it's-
it that.
It's
I-
stop,
you know,
question, and frisk. And it's
want
3 levels.
Right, but
you know?
something. I just get pissed when you hear politicians and you hear the news media calling it stop and frisk.
Right.
That's
Right.
you're exactly right. It's not called stop and frisk.
Right.
How did they own this? How did they
Right.
get to own this? We own this.
Right.
You know what's funny is that he could have, if he would have, instead of apologizing, we would have owned it.
Yeah.
Because if you recall, in the 2016 debates, they were Donald Trump was all for the stop, question, and frisk
Right.
report, all for the drop. All he had to do, Bloomberg, was own it and just go, listen, maybe the policy was a little heavy-handed at the end, but we saved 1,700 lives a
Yeah,
year
yeah,
for
you're right. He would have been-
12 years when I was mayor. So,
Yeah,
I don't know,
yeah.
maybe that's 10,000 people that are still alive that are walking around in New York City because of me and my policies.
Right.
That's what I would have said.
Instead, he lets Elizabeth Warren, who is the most anti-cop politician besides Bernie Sanders and the rest of them, and he lets her, beat him down.
Oh, she smacked
You know,
the
she
she
smacked the
him
shit out of him, you know?
man. Oof.
And then he has to listen to
Mini-
Trump call
Mini
him
Mike.
Little Mini Mike.
Mikey on the box.
All right.
With the box.
Well, we're going to cover some more in the second hour. I think we're at the end of the first hour, right,
This
Rashad?
is, this is almost like a talk show. Had nothing to
three-
do with policing.
Yeah, we got to get this back to
We're
some...
gonna get back to some police
Every once in a
stuff.
while, we got to do a different type of show.
Yeah,
It's turns out for some reason that's the way we went today, but we covered a lot of ground.
yeah, we did.
We'll
Holy
get back to
shit.
some policing.
We will. Andrew, you can believe an hour went by already?
Wow.
That was quick,
Having
right?
fun, right?
We're not even drinking Coronas. We're just drinking water and talking.
Yeah, one of these days we're going to have
A drunk show.
Oh, and by the way, today is it's what is it like? It's supposed to be 68 degrees out today.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's hot outside. It was
Yeah.
warm already when I got here.
Let me some global warming, some icebergs gonna.
Hopefully that's a
cover
sign of
this
things to
city
come.
up.
I don't know. I don't think this thing is going to be able to. I don't think people are going to give a shit. Once there were 2 weeks from now, when all those 300 people up in West, wherever the fuck they are in New York, when there's 2 weeks later, when they're still alive, everybody's going to be like, what happened to those people? They're still alive? Let's go. And that's it. Nobody's got time for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's my feeling. Unless it's like the movie Contagion. You
I taught people that they don't have to worry about Corona by drinking Corona.
You think you did, Bill?
I
But
think I
You
did,
really
man.
didn't at all.
It got
You should put it on the table.
It got 130 likes.
anything-
I think I reached at least 130.
I think it was Tito's, actually.
Tito's.
Tito's had to make a statement because people were thinking they can, instead of using alcohol as a sanitizer, they can drink the alcohol. And I actually had that idea too.
Yeah,
Somebody
I
had to
think
tell
you
me, so
did.
no, Tito made a warning that it's not going to help you. There's not enough alcohol
Okay.
in it
And you
to
didn't want to
actually...
rub real drinking alcohol on you either.
Nah,
It's a
man.
waste.
Nah, if you're drinking rubbing alcohol, you're in bad shape.
Yeah, I think
that's
so.
That's
you know,
distilled.
Listerine will get you
distilled.
fucked up.
does?
Listerine is like
Oh
12%
yeah. Well, you can't
alcohol.
have that. Yeah, you can't have that if you're in rehab. Listerine.
Yeah.
Anywho, or on a ship. I don't think you could have it on the Navy either, right?
I don't know.
You were an Army guy. You could have one. with
He's drinking
on.
Listerine in the locker room in a 3-4.
Yeah, yeah.
This way the CEO would say, "Hey, your breath smells good, but you look fucked up."
All right, we're gonna take a break, man. We're gonna come back for the second hour. We'll talk to you in a few.